Hi, I'm Michael Browning from the Whitestone Clinic, and this is the first lesson in the course on motivation and how to be successful in therapy. I want to talk to you today, particularly about what we have to consider as the why you are here and the turning pain into purpose. So, the why you are here is a big, important question. Like I said in the intro, it's kind of the steering, determining which direction you're going to go. And we have to ask ourselves, you know, the motivation or the reason to be in therapy is to have usually a difference in our life. But the question comes down to what kind of difference is it? Are you trying to get a difference in the sense of just getting something to stop being so? Or are you in it to become a different or changed person? Those are two different things. One is just trying to get a certain kind of pain away, and the other one's actually trying to transform, to change. So the first kind is called escape or avoidance. It's like sort of make the pain stop. And to be honest, a lot of people, that's their motivation in therapy. I'm just in a lot of pain. I need the pain to go away. Can you help me? I would say that would be what we would call an extrinsic motivation. Those are situations around us that are kind of forcing us into getting some kind of work on ourselves done. The other one is a growth. Okay, so a growth mindset. So I want to build a life that works. That's usually a much more successful one, and what we call an intrinsic motivation. It's wanting the change from within. It's wanting it for yourself as a good. So it's not focused on the externals so much as my character, my person, who I am. One of the reasons that people will seek the escape motivated therapy again is they want relief, right? They're not looking for transformation, they're looking for relief. And a lot of it too is caused by not just the external things, and because what they fail to realize is the external things might be bad, like they might be terrible behaviors others have done to you, might be a number of issues, but it's not a something you can control, right? So you know, if you go to see a therapist and you wanting to change other people, that's not going to work. Another aspect of it is the pain that we experience when we are going through tough times in life is not actually from the external event. That's a misconception. We experience pain that is basically generated inside, and that's the thing to consider, right? We don't, no one makes us feel pain, no one makes us feel sad, no one makes us feel angry. They give us an event, and the event will trigger something in us, trigger a belief, and the belief will trigger feelings. And so the thing that actually causes the pain is us. I cause my own pain. My belief, as it encounters an event, an experience, becomes my pain. Okay? The pain doesn't come from outside and land inside of me. The pain is generated from within in response to what's happening on the outside, but more particularly what my belief system is interpreting what's happening from the other side. That's the real issue. So if you have an external, extrinsic motivated approach, you're too focused on the problems outside, and you're too focused on the things around you having to be better and that kind of stuff. And that is never going to change. It's never going to work. And if it does change, it's not because of you. There's usually very little influence you can have on that. So we want to focus more on the interior, right, the psyche, and understand that the emotion that we have is coming from us. The pain is coming from us. So if we have a more intrinsic motivation where we're like, I need to change, we can go somewhere with that. Important to note, pain isn't necessarily a bad thing. Okay, like if your belief is a good belief and everything's sound, and you are in a terrible situation and you feel sadness, anger, hurt of some kind because of it, that's a good thing. You don't want to lose that. That'd be like saying, I don't want to feel pain in my skin, and like touch a hot stove and not feel it. Well, you're gonna have burnt skin and hands that can't work anymore. So you do want your hand to feel pain so you can remove it from the hot stove. And in the same way, you do need pain, in interior pain from a bad event happening that is legitimately bad, and your interpretation of it is correct. You do want that. So going to therapy to get rid of that, it's a bad idea. What we need to do is find other ways to strengthen you while enduring a terrible situation. But on the other side, sometimes the belief we have is off. Like it's an echo. It's a leftover from past experiences, and it teaches us, it frames us to look at the current event in the same light as those past events. And sometimes that's wrong. And if it's wrong, we actually have the power, if we can change that belief, to not change the outside, but experience it without pain or with less pain. And that's something you can work on in therapy. So it's very important to understand the difference in what brings you to therapy and also what you're pursuing in therapy. Your pain is real, okay? Like even when it's on a false belief, it's real. And a therapist will be empathetic and present to you and hear you out. And at first, therapy is really about just having someone hear your story, feeling like they're on your side, just having someone in your corner. And that's a very important part of therapy, don't get me wrong. But if that's all it is, you'd be better off having a friend for coffee and chatting then, because there's no skill needed outside of having ability to have empathy. And so that's not what therapy is. So you want to get past that stage while still maintaining, an empathetic connection, obviously, from your therapist. But you want to get past that stage into working on what can you do here? Like, what is going on for you? What is in your own mental landscape that you can change? And that's where the therapist can help, right? So when we're trying to get the best out of therapy, if we can come in acknowledging the extrinsics, right, all the external stuff, but moving into an awareness of what I am doing in the process of what's going on there, and be able to ask yourself, what do I want to build here? Like, what do I want to be on the other side of this? If my life doesn't change, if things externally still keep happening, how do I want to be able to function with that? How do I be strong, stay strong, etc.? And one of the things you'll see in therapy, they'll often use sort of a magic wand question, and they'll say, if I wave the magic wand, and you got what you needed, it'd be like therapy works for you. On the other side of therapy, what would it be? A lot of people have trouble answering that because they're too focused on the sort of circumstance and the extrinsic factors. But it's a good question to ask yourself, what, if therapy really works, what would change in me? Not necessarily in the environment, but in me. Okay. Another thing to look at is this allows you to tap in as well to your values, important principles, things that you hold dear. A lot of people are ignorant of what they actually believe. They react to what they feel, but they don't necessarily have a guiding principle, which is a very important thing if you're going to find your way out of a problem. You need a compass. And if you don't have a compass, you stay lost. So, that's why you don't want to just run away from a problem. You want to actually build a plan and have a way to get somewhere. You're not trying to get away from something. You're trying to get somewhere. And if that mindset sets in, you're going to get the most out of therapy. Okay. Now, if you don't know what that is, that's fine. I mean, part of therapy is helping you explore those things, and maybe for the first time in your life, actually get in touch with what you believe or what you want to believe, because maybe you don't believe it yet, but you want to believe it, and there's ways to practice it so it becomes your lived belief. Okay. So I would say, like, in the exercise that we're going to do, you're sort of going to have some homework here and things you can kind of work on. I would like you to answer at least one simple question. I'm here because I want to fill in the blank, right? So the emphasis is on the I, not on the circumstances. So don't try to say, I want to have my partner treat me better, or I would like to have a better success at work or something like that. That can be okay, but it's not really what we're trying to get to. It's like, I want to be a person who's hardworking and earns their achievements. Or I want to be a person who respects myself in a relationship even when the other person is showing me disrespect. Something in regards to who I want to be. So I give that to you, encourage you in that process. After you do the homework, get to the next video, and I'll see you there.